right. Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy April. It's almost over. We are almost to the summer season, if you can believe it. I feel like I've said this on every single webinar, but time is just really, really flying. So, thank you for taking some time out of your busy day for joining me for this live virtual event. I'm super excited about this topic, part two of our social success series this year, next gen social media for hotels powered by AI. This is something I have been researching a lot this year, talking about a lot this year. So I'm super excited that we could finally fit this into a webinar. I feel like this is a topic that's circulating all around the country, all around the world. A lot of conferences I'm seeing are having a lot of topics about AI and how that is integrating into social media. So I thought it'd be a perfect time to bring that to you guys as well. So before we jump into all the great information I have for you today, just a couple of things. This is a recorded webinar. So after the event concludes, you will receive the recording. So don't feel like you need to write everything down or take screenshots. You'll be able to access that as many times as you want. Also, there are some things on this console that you can see. Make sure you follow all of our TMG thought leaders. This is the kind of stuff that we're talking about, all from different channels, right? We have Ryan with the Sweet Spot that's interviewing people. Me and Chris are doing some research, and Jason is coming more on the development AI side. So make sure that you're following all of us because this is stuff that we're talking about every single day. But also, before we jump in, if you are new here, we are doing a hotel social media champion badge. So what this is, if you were with us last year, we had a 5-part series where if you attended every single one, you were winning this badge at the end of the year. And then if you posted that on LinkedIn, you had the chance to win their content creation giveaway basket, which I gave away to Gina Miller from TPI Hospitality last year so that they could create content at all of their properties. So super awesome, right? So this year it will be a 4-part series. So make sure you attend all of them. And again, if you can't attend live, feel free to register and you can watch it on demand. I still will be able to keep track that way. So if you're like, wait, this is part 2, I missed part 1, you still have time to go back and I will be able to see that. So make sure you're doing that. Tell your team about it because you'll have a higher chance to win this awesome giveaway. So let's jump into kind of what we're talking about today. This is a slide that if you attended last year, you have seen it a couple of times, but I've updated it a little bit, right? So talking about how the landscape of travel inspiration and planning has changed. So believe it or not, Travel Media Group, that red book right there is exactly what we used to do, right? You stopped at a gas station or a pit stop along the way, you would pick up a flyer with hotel coupons. That is exactly what we used to do. But as time evolved and marketing and things became more digital, we're going into internet search and social feeds, right? So that's kind of where we were stopping last year, was at the social media stage. But now, of course, with today's subject, we're going to get a little bit deeper into AI and LLMs and how this is going to fit with your social media. If you're not doing social media, what you need to be doing, all of the steps. So now we're kind of going down a different traveler's journey. Maybe people are researching a little bit different, which is what we're going to talk about now. So we're seeing a new generation of traveler's journey. So I think it was pretty simple to break it down into 3 stages, especially with the way I search, the way I'm seeing people search more often now, is social media comes first usually, right? Especially if you want to get a good visual, maybe you want to see some videos of people that have stayed there previously. This is the best way to get it, social media, because it's raw, it's real, people are giving their real experiences, and you're able to visually see that. Then we go into validation, right? So maybe I found this awesome hotel on Instagram. Well, I want to make sure that it is all as cracked up to be of what I saw on social media. I'm going to go read the reviews, or I'm going to go chat to ChatGPT and said, hey, I found this hotel Vista on Instagram. Is it a good place to stay at? Super simple question. AI is going to give me a full response with everything that it can find online about this property. So what is that including? That's including your reviews, your website, your social media content, what other people are saying on social media about your property, pulling that all into one place to give you one quick answer. That's crazy, right? Because really, I didn't have to go read reviews. I didn't have to go to your website. I could have found you on Instagram, asked ChatGPT if this is a great place to stay at, and I can make my decision right there, right? So that's why now the traveler's journey has really become a lot shorter. It's fast, it's low friction. We're moving into this new world where your guests may never visit your website. They may never read your reviews. They may not even compare the 5 options down the road. They may find you on social media and be like, this looks great. Let's ask AI. If everything comes back, I've made my decision, right? It's super simple. So it's not really a question anymore if is this happening? It's whether your hotel is showing up. So if you're not on social media, you're already missing that kind of first, point where you can reach these travelers. And again, maybe someone found you online and they still ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT may say, I can't find any social media presence for this hotel, but here's what their reviews have to say. So you kind of see that social media is playing a huge part, not only in the initial search phase, but also into that AI search as well. So let's talk about maybe where we can lose some of this, these guests, potential guests, either through our social media or through that AI search, right? So maybe you don't have any content at all, right? There's nothing on your profile to show what you have to offer, where you're located, things to do in the area. This is all we're seeing is a blank page. So you're invisible in that initial discovery phase. Or maybe you're just posting really generic content and it's forgettable. We all scroll on social media, usually mindlessly, but especially if you're doing an intentful research of a hotel to stay at and you post the most boring, basic photo with not even a good caption, it's forgettable. I'm not even going to take the time to read it. I'm not going to take the time to go look at your profile more in depth. I'm continuing my search to something that really grabs my attention. And then maybe you're inconsistent, right? You don't have someone helping with your social media. It's kind of the last thing you're wanting to worry about. You only post it on the 1st and the 28th of the month. The algorithm itself is not going to feed your content to people that follow you or to people that don't follow you because it's so inconsistent, right? Now, of course, if you're spamming and you're posting a ton, that's a different story too. But being inconsistent is really untrustworthy because to the guest, that means you don't really care that much about showing what your property has to offer through social media. So I want to stick on this slide a little bit because this is probably one of the biggest things that I've noticed that maybe a lot of hoteliers aren't familiar with. So a couple weeks ago, I spoke at a conference about this exact topic and how the Instagram algorithm has changed. So I posed them the question, how many of you have social media, a personal social media page, right? You're scrolling through your feed. How many of those posts are you seeing that are from pages you don't even follow? For me, it's like 80%, right? I'm getting posts from businesses, from influencers, from basically anything that I don't follow. But my algorithm is realizing what I'm interested with, what I'm engaging with, what I watch all the way through. This is the new age of Instagram's algorithm. So previously, when Instagram first became a thing, oh, I'll follow you. If you follow me, we'll be able to see each other's content, right? It was people to people. We didn't really see a lot of businesses. Influencers weren't a thing yet. It was a lot of just relationships. If I follow you, your content will show up in my feed, right? It was kind of hard to discover new content, hard to discover new businesses or new creators that you might be interested in because you had to follow them to see their content. Now, probably within, I don't know, the last 5 or so years, we've seen Instagram change to a more interest graph, right? So now it's feeding you what you watch, what you engage with, and what you spend time on. So from people to people, now more to people to interest. So it's much easier to find new content. You go on your Explore page, I could probably find hundreds of new creators that do things that I'm interested in, or businesses that I'm interested in, or maybe I was doing some travel search. Now my algorithm's like, hey, I think she's going on a trip. Let's feed her stuff. Like I am planning to go to Aruba this year, and I searched it once on TikTok. I think almost every other video on my TikTok feed is now things in Aruba, right? So that's how quickly it happens. And it's happening across the board on all of social media. But Instagram specifically is where I wanted to talk about it because they were kind of the first to put this into place. But I really want to point out what I wrote here on the bottom, right? Your content is now competing on relevance and not relationships. And what this kind of goes into now is that followers don't matter. And I know you hate to hear this because we hear it all the time, right? We want more followers. We want to have a bigger number. That's such a vanity metric now. What I mean by that is it looks great. You've got 30,000 followers. That's cool. That looks great. But we went through a phase probably about 10 years ago where people were starting to buy followers. And so that meant less to Instagram, right? We don't really care about followers anymore. And especially since the algorithm has changed, you're not even seeing content from the people you follow. I follow like 600 people and I rarely see their posts, right? Most of my feed is from people I don't follow again. So what can we track instead? Reach, number one. How many people are seeing your content? That's just straight brand awareness. You're getting your name out there. people are seeing your content. Then we can move into engagement. So maybe they're considering it because they liked the post, maybe they commented on it, they watched the video all the way through. Conversion. And when I talk about conversion on social media, I'm not necessarily talking about booking, which is something we'll probably be able to talk about here very soon because that is starting to be integrated, but it's just simply taking an action, right? So maybe they saved the post, they DM'd it to somebody else, then maybe they did follow your page. That is pushing them even more down the funnel to eventually book with you. So that discovery is happening beyond just who follows you. So really try and get it out of your head that followers matter, because I gave the same example at the conference. Like, it was in Minnesota. It was a great time. I did some research on the area where we were staying, but am I going to go to Minnesota anytime again soon? So I may not follow that hotel I stayed at, but I will look at their stuff before I go, right? So what I say on the bottom here, your next guest may never follow you, but your content still influenced their decision. Because that was a one-time trip for me and I'm not sure I'll ever be back, I didn't follow the page, but I still looked at their content. It still made that decision for me that this is where I want to be. And I say this for select service hotels too, because maybe you're sitting here like, yeah, but I'm on the side of the highway. We're not really a destination. Like, people are usually just passing through. That's still important, right? That's still part of that customer's journey, even if you're not the final destination. So if we can comfort them, we can give them a great stay, that makes a difference. Imagine you're on a road trip, cross country, you stop midway through, you have a terrible stay, terrible night's sleep at a hotel. That ruins a lot of the future of your trip, right? But maybe you have a great stay, you get the best sleep of your life, you had an awesome breakfast, the service was great. That just makes my trip 10 times better. And I'm going to remember that property for when we drive back or when we do this again. So I don't want you to think that this is only for hotels that have a lot to offer. This is for everybody. Social media is so important. And tracking these things instead of your followers are super important, because just like you were scrolling passively, same thing as other travelers. They're just watching. They may click on a couple of things, and maybe you're just planting that seed for them in the future. You plant that seed, and then in 6 months, they're like, oh yeah, I remember this hotel in Minnesota. Like, we should stay here. So let's talk a little bit more about AI, which is why you all are here. So this is where it's headed, right? I talked about this on the last webinar about Booking.com and Expedia starting to integrate on social media platforms. And it's even going to become crazier. I just posted on LinkedIn yesterday about a new update with TikTok now having meta search hotel cards. And this is in beta testing. This isn't fully live yet. But basically, if a viewer comes across a hotel's video or a destination video and they swipe down, it brings up this card that lists hotels to them. And from there, they have the opportunity to watch videos of people that have stayed there. They have the opportunity to go to your hotel's page, or they can open it up and it sends them directly to an OTA to book. So of course, again, this is in beta testing, but this is where it's headed, right? We've seen it with TikTok Shop, which is what I talk about in that post, that now people are able to buy stuff from social media. We have Instagram Shop too. Who's to say that can't be true for booking? And that's kind of where it's headed right now. So when we think of that in terms of our content, we have to remember that we have to think about how AI is going to recommend it. Because even on Instagram search, there's a new AI bubble that comes up. You've been on Google, you do a search, that little AI bubble comes up first. So we know that these AI assistants are able to recommend hotels. So we want to make sure that we're giving it content that's going to feed those AI answers what we want our travelers to know. And if you want to know what's being searched about your hotel, what's being said about your hotel, have someone ask ChatGPT about it. Maybe someone that hasn't been on all of your social media and website in a while, have them search and see what it's telling them, because that will give you cues on what you can improve. And of course, we're going to see this booking happening inside platforms probably pretty soon. So what does this mean for our content? Again, we're not posting for just our followers anymore, because we already know our content is discoverable beyond that. We're posting for that discovery. So our content must stop the scroll, be immediately clear, and deliver fast value. Again, we have the attention span of a goldfish these days. We want to mindlessly scroll. If you're not catching my attention within the first 2 seconds, maybe even less, I'm scrolling, right? So making sure that it stops the scroll, it delivers information that's important or things I would want to know. It gives you that value quick. So your social media is your first impression. I always compare it to like a digital front desk. I should be able to get all the answers I need from your social media by scrolling through your post, watching your videos, etc. Because I don't know anything about your hotel usually when I find your Instagram, right? So if I can get all my answers up front, I'm already way more down the booking funnel than I would be if I had to go to your website or go to your reviews or even call, right? So super important. So these content types that are fitting into this is one, the stay experience, two, local discovery, three, the guest point of view, so user generated content, what other people are saying about your property online, and then staff and human moments. Your staff is your number one seller, right? That is usually what it comes down to between a great stay and a not so great stay. Sometimes I can overlook the outdated rooms or maybe the breakfast wasn't the best, but if I had really good service from your team members, it takes it to the next level. So making sure that you incorporate them into your social media because they are the heart and soul of what your property has to offer. So these can be broken down into buckets, right? So it should fit into one of these when you're posting it. It's about the experience, what it feels like, the context, maybe who it's for. If it's, we're a property that caters to families, or, we're in Miami Beach and there's a lot of nightlife, or the emotion and why that matters. So we know that traveler behavior changed. And what I mean by that is people starting to search on social media, right? So then social became a discovery first platform. We see that with the Explore page and the search ability on TikTok and Instagram. And then the algorithms changed how content is seen because of all this, right? Because we had more businesses on social media, because influencers were becoming a thing, the algorithm changed with it. And now followers matter less because, again, your content is being seen by many more people. Content matters more. And then AI is learning from that content and feeding answers. And I think this is going to continue to be a cycle, right? Maybe behavior will change because we'll be able to book with an Instagram and TikTok. And then we'll see how the algorithm changes that and what content changes there. So this is a constant evolving thing, which is why I am always reading about it, because this changes all the time. I guarantee in 6 months, this will be a completely different topic and we will be moving on to the next thing with social media and AI. So with that, we're kind of seeing how discovery is becoming a little bit more fully personalized. Maybe I went on Google and searched top 10 hotels in Orlando, and I was able to find a place I want to stay at. Now I'm going to ChatGPT or I'm going to Claude or whatever AI search tool you use, and I'm typing in best boutique hotel in Orlando for a girls trip with a pool and walkability. That is so specific, but that is what people are searching because AI has the ability to pull that information for me. If I did that on Google, I'd probably get a wide range of answers. But now with AI and able to pool all this information in one place, it's a lot more specific. I can get really specific. I can adjust my search and it'll give me a new answer, right? So with this post on the left, we had a super basic post and it shows an image of the hotel. That's great. Maybe we talk about how we're in the top 10 hotels in Orlando. But if I know that people are going to be searching very niche things and we relate to that, make it a carousel. Post about in your caption. You can see this is a girls trip. We have bars and restaurants in the area, 5-minute walk away from the hotel. Those keywords are what's going to be important for your hotel social media to pull in those for AI. So just in the caption, or maybe you create a graphic or you post a video, use those keywords. Pool, girls trip, walkability, Orlando. That's what it's looking for. So it's not really doing a lot of extra work for you. It's just being a little bit more specific with the photos you're posting and with the words that you're using in the caption. So then I wanted to give this slide because a lot of people talk to me about, they struggle with their social media content, and I get it, right? It's hard to market the same thing over and over with fresh new ideas. I have used ChatGPT and I did this search for you guys specifically. I told ChatGPT I have a hotel in Ocala. And if you're not familiar with Ocala, it's right outside of Orlando. Orlando's super hustle and bustle. Ocala's a little bit quieter, but there's not as much to do in that area, right? So I told ChatGPT, I have a hotel in Ocala. I don't really know what to post about. There's not much to do around here. What can I talk about on social media? It gave me a list of 10 ideas, guys. And not even just 10 ideas, 10 topics with sub ideas in those. Use AI to your advantage. I'm not saying you have to use it to create your content, which is, can be used, and I'll talk about that in a second, but it can help you with that caption writing. It can help you with just post ideas and what to say, or maybe your video scripting. So, it gave me an idea of reframe Ocala, right? Just because it's outside of Orlando, that's one of its strong suits. You want to escape the hustle and bustle and craziness of Orlando, come to Ocala where it's quieter and it's more relaxed and there's more to do for whatever the case may be. That can help you. And with this AI social media tool that we have at TMG, you're able to take your photos. So let's say we had an example of Niagara Falls during the winter and it's snowing, right? Well, we want to use that same photo, but it's summertime. It doesn't look like that right now. This tool, you can apply magic to it and it can turn it into summer. And we did a webinar on this a couple of months ago. So if you haven't seen that and you want to learn more about that, go check it out. It's on our website, or you can message me and I can send it to you. But it is a great tool because there's a kind of a gray area with AI and social media, right? You don't want to post something that's unrealistic, that would never happen in your hotel, that I can tell that's AI. But we can use it to maybe just change the season. Oh, we have a lot of great stock photos of our property, but we want people in it. Use this tool. Hey, add a couple of people by the pool having a drink. Can you add someone at the front desk? Little things like that is where we can use AI to our advantage, that it doesn't cross that line of that would never happen. Because I know we all scroll Instagram and we're like, is this AI? Is this real? I do it all the time. I've been tricked by many videos that I later found out that are AI. But this keeps it clear, right? We understand that this is completely possible. Honestly, when I've used the tool, I couldn't even tell you that it was AI. It looks that real, which is important because it could be real. We just don't have that photo right now. So what does this mean for the landscape of travel inspiration? Winning hotels will show up consistently, so posting on a regular cadence, tell better stories, so that niche, more specific thing I was mentioning, feed AI with rich content, and use the tools to scale. AI should be here to help us and not hurt us, right? If we can use it to our advantage, this is going to help you as a busy hotelier. It helps our teams deliver to you much better content, especially if you've only got limited photos. We can do a lot of things now with that. So what happens when you're not doing this? You're going to be invisible. And I don't mean to scare you, but I want to scare you a little bit, because we're so far, much further in AI now on social media than I thought we would be at this time. And I'm telling you, in a few months, it's just going to be even deeper. So if you're sitting here like, I don't even have a social media page, it's now or never. Now is the time to do it, because it's just going to continue to grow. And I guarantee your competitors are already out there feeding that algorithm. And then you're going to have to rely more on OTAs, because people aren't booking directly, because they found you a different way, not through your own social media. So with this, right, we're kind of at a crossroads right now for a lot of people. And there's a lot of different tools and things people saying a lot of different things out there. There's one straight path, and it is having a consistent, well put together social media. If you have that, everything else with AI can fall into place. Of course, reputation and responding to reviews matters just as much, but social media is a huge, huge, huge aspect of that, much bigger than it used to be. So if you're like, I don't know what to do, contact Travel Media Group and we can help you. This is what our team does day in and day out. You are a busy hotelier. You don't have time to do this social media. It's always put on the back burner, but you know this is important, right? We're at this point right now where if you continue to say no, 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 you're going to reap the consequences of that, honestly, because the way people are searching these days. But if you're on top of it, or you're working with someone like Travel Media Group to make sure you're on top of it, you're golden, right? You're gonna get to this gold thumbs up right here, which means great social media, right?